Hello everyone, welcome back to Game Droid and welcome back to Modern Skyblock 3. So I've been doing a little bit of work. I've moved all my stuff over here and set up some wireless energy points, just charging up things and getting them ticking over on this side. I've also been gathering my charged Certus Quartz and Certus Quartz out of here and putting them into massive great blocks here. The best I can do, let's turn that down a little bit further. The best I can do with like grinding this up in a machine is 4 Certus Quartz per block. And I did a little bit of experimentation and found that on average I'm getting like 4.2 or 4.3 Certus Quartz per block when I smash it with my Fortune 4 pick. Based a little bit on luck. But I can tip luck in my favour using a luck potion. And I did do some checks and this does seem to increase the amount of drops. So I can do this to get a whole bunch of Certus Quartz. So there we go, that's an inventory full of Certus Quartz, which I'm pretty sure is more than I would have gotten without, would have gotten by machine grinding this. And this is just for our storage. But the main thing we're going to be working on today isn't going to be storage. The main thing we're going to be working on today is the space exploration. Let's grab ourselves a Domino's pizza. Just for convenience. I am eating my way through some additional foods. So I don't really care about sort of enchanting my armor again. But one thing I do want to do is give myself permanent night vision. Just because it's nice to have the permanent night vision so I don't get the night vision flickering on and off when I go between my pickaxe and not. So we will pop that onto our tier 3 spacesuit helmet. The other thing I want to do is I had a little bit of an explore in the menu. And if I go into oxygen here, we're currently using heavy oxygen tanks. Heavy oxygen tanks can store 2,700. We can make very heavy oxygen tanks which store 7,200. They do require us to make red-topped oxygen tanks, but I did go ahead and do that. So, theoretically, this is once we get palladium ore, which we got in the last episode. So theoretically, we now have 2 very heavy oxygen tanks, which basically triples our oxygen capacity. Which I think is a good idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to charge those up and I'm going to replace my current oxygen tanks with them. Our decontamination arch is really, really useful. It can sort of empty us out really, 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 really quickly. Other than that, in the meantime, I have been researching some more planets. That's the moon. I don't want the moon. Venus, asteroids, Ceres, Eris, Haumea, Jupiter, Kepler, 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 Kepler. So somewhere in among all these satellites... By the way, I've been launching more satellites in the meantime because I need to find more planets. Asteroids, Venus, Mars, Moon, nothing, Kepler, Kepler, Kepler Belt, Makemake, Mercury, Neptune. There we go. I don't think we have Neptune yet. Oh no, we do have Neptune. Pluto. Pluto is the one we don't have. So Pluto's 42% along the way of being researched. So that's fine. We've got Pluto being researched now. Hopefully now you should also be able to hear a little bit of audio from the game every now and then. Like my teleporter. Yeah, that should be audible. I've been sort of like just puttering about and setting things up. Have I done anything else in the meantime? We have our tier 3 spacesuit all set up and ready. We've got our tier 5s. I did make an advanced oxygen compressor just because it's faster. But it's not particularly exciting. It's literally just 4 oxygen compressors put together, and I moved them out of there. Oh, and the other thing I did, I wanted to collect the liquids on each planet, because I've been collecting the ores using my digital miner, but I wanted to collect the liquids, and bucketing it up slowly was a little bit of a pain in the backside. So what I've done here is I've set up a black, red, and blue ender bucket, and a black, red, and blue ender tank. And then this one extracts on green, this one extracts on brown, and this one extracts on blue. And then we've got green, brown, and blue here. So what I can do is I can fill these up with 256 buckets of any particular fluid, and then just put a drum down, and the drum fills up with it. And I did that over here to get 100 buckets of infected water, 198 buckets of liquid crystal water, and 213 buckets of liquid sulfuric acid from the different planets that we visited. So now I can, if I want, start doing things like making anti-rad. Over here we've got the wireless RF battery. What are we doing so far for these? Well, we've got plenty of the tier 2. We're getting some of the tier 3. That's pretty good. So what I want to do now is I need to go to Jupiter and I need to get my next level of schematic. So I need to go to Jupiter and get my next schematic level. Now I don't know what the boss is like on Jupiter. I'm assuming it's going to be reasonably tough. So if we head in this direction, we can go and check up on our thing. And as you can see, I've put a few markers down. Skeleton Boy is hiding under here. Okay, so this is mining up Jupiter Palladium, red gem, and a little bit of volcanic rock. Not much volcanic rock. But if we have a look at our waypoints, I've got a lot of rocket waypoints over here. So if we look over here, we've got a lot of those rockets. And I found that they don't just contain tin, they also contain aluminum. So we've got like 3 rockets over here, we've got 3 rockets here, 2 rockets here. They seem to come in little patches. But up here, we've got Watt, Dungeon, another Watt, and a dry lava bed. And then we've got another Watt over here. I haven't investigated these Watts because I didn't want to investigate them off camera. I just kind of spotted them and thought that is definitely a weird thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a little fly over and a little bit of an exploration today. Got the usual weirdness. The reason this happens, by the way, is because we've got these floating blocks of Jupiter land. It basically lands on the first bit of Jupiter land, and this is the weird block. We've got white blocks and red blocks. I'm kind of concerned there might be a trap in here. Got redstone lamps, quartz slabs as the ceiling. And just like with the communication station we saw earlier, a bunch of empty chests. Some beds. Okay. A jukebox. Does the jukebox contain anything? Nope. Okay, so we've got just a bunch of chests, some quartz slabs, some red decoration blocks, white decoration blocks. Not sure why some of the ceiling is quartz slabs and some of it isn't, but gonna mine it all anyway. Might as well. Yeah, so that's a what, apparently. Oh, and we've got another jukebox over here. I think it won't vein mine the ceiling because you need it to be single slab depth. Yeah, you need to be a single slab depth. Okay. So there's our bunch of stuff that we got free from the Watt. Not sure what I'm going to do with red decoration blocks, but that was our Watt, and then we've got the dungeon here. This is the only dungeon I found so far, so I'm hoping this one has the schematic I'm looking for. Kind of darker yellow brick. I'm hoping this has the schematic I'm looking for. It's the only dungeon I found so far. Doesn't look like there's many spawners in this one. Although this looks like a big dungeon if I'm reading this right. Oh, here's a room with spawners in it. But yeah, it looks like it's a massive, very, very simple dungeon without very many... One second, guys. That kind of cut in ridiculously loud and suddenly. Sorry about that. I hope that wasn't deafening to anyone listening. Okay. So let's put all of this away. Come on, terminal. Wake up. Oops, I put away my Jupiter. Jupiter. So, let's grab our bow and arrow. And as usual, we're probably going to cheese this. What have we got? We have a giant fire bat. So, because this has such a fast fire rate, we should be reasonably okay to just kind of dodge and open fire. Although this guy's got a lot of health. This guy has a lot of health. But the knockback on this bow is pretty good. And even if I take a bomb to the face, it doesn't appear to do a lot of damage, so that's fine. Oh, that's far easier. Okay, this guy's not much of a threat. He's kind of like a Ghast in that we're kind of best just kind of bopping him. And there's our dungeon key. Excellent. That's our tier 5 dungeon key. Easily acquired. So we're pretty much immune to those fireballs, thankfully. And tier 5 NASA rocket. Excellent. Oh, I do love having speed 2. That's one of the great things is because of my rings. Oh, sorry, I have speed 3 because of my rings. What gives me speed 3? That gives speed 2. That gives speed... Oh, wait, do these stack? No? Do I get speed 3 when I do that? I wonder where I was getting speed 3 from for a second there. Maybe I do get speed 3 when I dash using the gem. So the last thing is we've got another Watt to explore, which is over here. And we've also got a dry lava bed. I think it's a dry lava bed, or at least, even if it's not a dry lava bed, it's kind of got a decent functionality that I'm going to use anyway. We've got another one of the Watts here. Ooh, hello. I let the lava in. Who let the lava in? Me. That's who. I let the lava in. Don't even know if that is lava, but close enough. So over here at the dry lava bed is our next kind of target in... Ooh, no. It's interesting that I'm still flying without my Chaos Gem. There we go, it caught up with me. Do need to be careful when just putting stuff away at random in my inventory. I think I wasn't high up. So the reason I think this is dry lava, because you can see we've got this subsurface rock, which is normally like underneath a layer of surface rock. And then we've got 5 volcanic rock, another 5 volcanic rock there, and we've got some ash here. Some ash blocks. I don't know, like, why that was exposed. I mean, I wonder if, like, we do this, if we'll find more volcanic rock. Because volcanic is the stuff that I'm kind of missing a lot of. But that stuff, like, you can see that there's not, like, it's not, like, a bunch of it showing up the moment we start doing this. So I'm wondering why that bit of subsurface rock was exposed and why, like, the volcanic rock was just there. And in such a large amount, because normally we find like one piece at a time. So even as we go around the edge here where we'd expect to find some, like we're getting none. So that bit was just an exposed bit with lots of volcanic rock available. For some reason. Not sure why. But we do have our tier 5 rocket now. So if we ever need tin or aluminium and we don't have that set up yet, we can always come back here for rockets. We don't need to worry about another dungeon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw my Jupiter talisman in here, get out my overworld one, and we're going to head straight back. So from now on, like, Galacticraft is a case of going to going to planets, making sure that we have gotten rid of our contamination, upgrading our rocket, and moving on. So you can see this uses, what, 100,000 rate, 100,000, 200,000 to get us down from 50% to 0. But that's not a problem. Like, we're generating more than enough power to cope with this. The only thing that's limiting this thing at the moment is the amount of wireless power transfer that we've got. So if we step out of it, you can see that the amount of power it's gaining is several hundred RF per tick. So it's getting a couple of thousand RF a second. So we're not really concerned about that. Our oxygen we've barely started to touch. So yeah, we now just have to look into tier 5 rockets. Unlock. So tier 5 rockets. What do we need for a tier 5 rocket? This is the question. Tier 4, tier 5 rocket. We need 10 heavy duty plates, tier 5, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 25, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. And these are just compressed palladium with the heavy duty tier 4 plates. So we're compressing some aluminium and some bronze at the moment, which gets us to tier 1 plates. So we're going to need quite a bit of compressed palladium. Because we need 5 per plate. So let's grab 2 stacks. We're also going to need to compress some carbon and some mercury. Would help if I spelt mercury right. Now I think we've got lots of compressed meteoric iron and desh. Let's have a look. We've got 500 compressed meteoric, and desh we've got 300 compressed. So yeah, we've got plenty of compressed stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this cycle compress, and I will be back once everything is compressed and we're ready to build our next rocket. Okay, so we're back. I might have put in a quick, like, sped up scene of this stuff compressing, but I think we've got what we need. So there's our nose cone. We then need 4 fins, which require tier 4 plates. I did have some tier 4 plates in here, but I've put them all in here to be converted. So there's our tier 4 plates that we needed. That's fine. So we need 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Good. We then need an engine, which is fine. We'll need a button and we'll need an oxygen vent because we won't have any of those in stock at the moment. So that will allow us to get a jet engine. Oh, we did have some oxygen vents in stock. And then we need tier 5. So we need fuel canisters, which we should have. And blue wool, which we might have. We don't have the blue wool. That's fine. Blue wool is pretty easy to get. It's just wool and lapis. So palladium, mercury, filled fuel canisters. Dang it, that filled fuel canister is always the thing I'm missing. Let's go and fill like 4 fuel canisters up. Actually, no, 5, because that will do us for our next 2 rockets. After this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've still got almost a full barrel of fuel. I haven't actually bothered making any fuel since the last time. So there we go. That is our 2 jet engines. Our 2 boosters, which will help us break atmosphere. Now I think that is everything for our tier 5 rocket. Nose cone. Ah, I need the actual tier 5 plates. Which I did make enough of, thankfully. We are making some more despite that, but there we go. One tier 5 rocket. Needs to be placed on tier 2 launch pad. That's fine, we have a tier 2 launch pad. So I can't make the next level of spacesuit. So if we have a look at that, the next level of spacesuit is a tier 4 spacesuit, and for that I need space zinc. Space zinc comes from extra planets. However, we're not going to get space zinc from the next planet we go to, which is Saturn, because Saturn is where we'd normally get magnesium from. But I already have magnesium. This required palladium. It was this one that required... Which one was it required magnesium? I know I built something that required magnesium. Space magnesium, because I actually sort of basically bypassed space magnesium by grinding up normal magnesium to get space magnesium. What was it I built? What was it I built with you, space magnesium? Might have been the advanced oxygen compressor, but I don't think it was. I'm sure I built something with space magnesium that I needed. But for the life of me, I now cannot remember what it was I built. Nope, can't remember what it was I built. I needed space magnesium for something, because I know I made space magnesium. So we've got the Saturn paper, which is the next place we're going to. Let's grab our tier 2 launch pad and get this guy refueling. And the other thing we need is we need to make a return home amulet and name it as Saturn. So we need a return home amulet called Saturn. For that we need a fragile chaos orb. We've still got plenty of chaos left. And you are going to be Saturn. There we go. So we now have our Saturn charm. I'm going to charge him up. So the one thing you do have to do is you do have to make sure you remember to charge these guys up. My chaos gem I have put away again, because I always do. No? Ah, it went into the... Ooh, good. Glad I spotted that, because it had gone into the trash can slot. Naughty, naughty. So this guy is a big old beastie. And our next up target is Saturn, which is a level 5 planet. Now I'm going to guess our radiation is going to go up quite quickly. I could carry the Geiger counter with me, but it doesn't really make any difference whether or not I know how much radiation we're gaining. So the question is, when you're full, how lucky are we going to be? What is the planet going to be like? And we're going to have to go on another hunt for another dungeon. So probably what I will do is I will do the same thing as we usually do. I'll cut it and we'll come back when I actually find a dungeon. It's not too difficult to find a dungeon with Creative Flight from the Silent Gem. So the Silent Gem, Chaos Gem, the flight we get from it is basically Creative Flight. Combine that with the Speed 2 from the Mega Loots. It's actually really very quick to explore. It's just the issue of generating that many chunks on a small home computer can get a little bit laggy and stuttery. And away we go. So we want to go to Saturn, which is our tier 5 planet. I wonder what our landing mechanism will be. Will it be holding down space to land? Taking one giant leap. That's an interesting little addition. Hold down space to slow velocity. Yep. Ooh, this is a nice lander. I like that each planet has its own custom lander. I do like that every planet has its own customized lander. Next time we go to another planet, I'm going to have to make some more teleport anchors as well as another return home amulet, but that's not a problem. Teleport anchors are really cheap. Teleport anchors are literally just like a gem and a few bits of chaos ore. And maybe a little bit of redstone, I think. Ooh, we've got a new fluid to collect. And giant oceans of radioactive fluid. I am concerned by that. So let's grab a couple of cans. And we will just top you up and then top you up. And send them back again along with these. There we go. So that's bound to the Saturn teleporter. So we can come back whenever we want. I'm assuming this is sulfuric acid. Is it sulfuric acid? Or radioactive water? Let's grab a bucket and find out. What are you? You are... hydrocarbon bucket. Oh, okay. So this is something that we don't have yet. So black, we're going to grab up a bunch of hydrocarbons. So we're just going to grab up literally a full set of these hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons are basically what petrol is, so I'm not sure what like we will get out of gathering up these hydrocarbons, if we can turn these into fuel maybe. But I'm going to grab up a full drum's worth of these hydrocarbons, because why not? And it doesn't take long to do this, especially when there's a big lake like this. And then we can just transfer these from the ender bucket into a tank once we get into a drum once we get back home. So there you go. That's a full drum's worth of hydrocarbons. We then have another liquid over here, which we're going to check. You are liquid glowstone. Okay. Yeah. Let's grab some liquid glowstone. I don't know if we're going to have any use for large quantities of liquid glowstone, but it's freely available and there's no, like, basically no challenge in collecting it. We're immune to environmental pressure, so we don't have to worry about that. And there we go. We have just sucked up an entire lake of that, and we have 76 buckets of liquid glowstone. Now there is... oh, this is another one again. So this is infected stone. I don't think I want to take any infected stone with me. What are you? Liquid methane. So we've got a third liquid. Like, this is the planet of the liquids, apparently. This is the planet of weird liquids. So we've got hydrocarbons, we've got methane, we've got glowstone, and we've got... yeah, hydrocarbons, methane, and glowstone. One tip I would give you is if you are doing this as a kind of... just doing this on a server, is where it's possible. Like, I couldn't do it with the whole lake of hydrocarbons, but where it's possible, try to basically do a whole area. So try not to like leave bits behind flowing, because the flowing bits are a source of ticks and things that you don't want. And with the ender bucket, it's really easy to just suck up a whole whole lake and just then move on. So what have we got here? We've got slime blocks, we've got infected blocks, more slime blocks, and nuclear bombs. What? There's nuclear bombs hidden inside these slime blocks. I'm not really sure I want to collect the nuclear bombs, but at the same time, I kind of want to collect the nuclear bombs. We've got, I think this is slime ore. That's Saturn surface rock, but I think... Oh, this just breaks into slime. Okay, so apparently there's nuclear bombs and slime on this planet. More resonant hives. More liquid glowstone. Not really sure if that's a good idea to collect the radioactive slime from Saturn. But there should be, down in here, we should find the ore, which is the manganese. Was it manganese? That's iron, 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 tin, copper, iron. Where is it? Is it manganese? I think it's manganese that we get from in here. Which I might just collect one of in case we ever want to digitally mine it from here. But we're getting the other kind of manganese from our void ore miner, and we can just convert the two using a basic hammering station. Ooh. Just some ice. Just hanging out on Saturn. Who would have thought Saturn had ice? I can't find any of the manganese ore. Pretty sure it's manganese ore. But I'm not really sure, like, other than a dungeon, if there's anything I'm actually here for. Plenty of slime. But I think the main thing I'm here for is just to find a dungeon. Oh, by the way, the communication satellite that we found on Mercury, I believe. I actually had a look up as to what that was. Ooh, this is a quick dungeon. Look at that. Look at how little of this planet's surface I've explored and already found a dungeon. Ooh, that's tin. I looked up the communication satellite. Apparently it's a non-implemented feature at the moment. So basically, at the moment, the communication satellite is communication satellite dish is just a cosmetic item that can be spawned in creative mode. It's not actually got a use yet. The guy who created the mod does want to give it a use, but hasn't as of yet. Excuse me, spawner. I mean, this is a really nice source of spawners if you do want to look into finding some decent spawner sources. And get some nice big collections of spawners from these places. What are we going to have this time? Come on. Oh, I'm attacking with the wrong sword. No wonder I'm doing so little damage. I do a hell of a lot more damage when I attack with the right sword. Come on, give me my dungeon key. There we go. And our dungeon treasure chest. Tier 6 dungeon key. So now that we've got the radiation and we've got everything else prepped, Tier 6 rocket, lovely. We should be able to move through these dungeons reasonably swiftly and efficiently. So, Tier 6 rocket. I wonder if we need any resources from here to make the Tier 6 rocket. Tier 6 rocket engine requires Tier 6 plates, which requires compressed magnesium. That's what we wanted. And space magnesium ore. Now, what we can do to get that is we can just crush up magnesium ore. So we don't actually have to mine magnesium ore on here. We can just crush up magnesium ore back at home. And crushed up magnesium ore will give us the magnesium chunks that we can then smelt into space magnesium. So if we don't want to, we don't have to. I think there is an automated crushing table as well that can get us those crushed results, basically without us putting effort into it. So I might look into that. Because magnesium was... I'm sure we wanted it for something. Was it the magnesium plates we wanted for something? Use of magnesium plates. Ah, yes, we wanted it for the tier 5 thermal padding. That's what we were after. Was the tier 5 thermal padding. So yeah, I don't think there's any real point in gathering anything else from here. I mean, if we ever want nuclear bombs or we ever want large amounts of slime, we can come back, but it doesn't even look like there's any kind of crashed satellites or anything particularly interesting. I mean, there's a bunch of liquid glowstone stuff like that, but I think we're just going to head home. Nuclear bombs and things, useful, but not amazing. So now that we're home, if I grab, first off, land on the floor. If I grab 3 drums, 1, 2, 3, I can just pop down 3 drums like this. And then go always active, always active, always active. And that will pump out the methane, the hydrocarbons, and the glowstone. Let's have a look what hydrocarbons actually do. So we can just bucket it up and unbucket it. If we put it in a basic densifier, we can get coal from hydrocarbons. Okay, that's fine, like coal from fuel. And what about methane? Use. Methane doesn't appear to have a use at all, except to gain aspects. A methane synthesizer allows us to synthesize methane. With a source of hydrogen and carbon, this manufactures methane for further processing as a gas liquefier. In a gas liquefier. Oh, okay, so what's a gas liquefier? Gas liquefier. Liquefies gases either from the atmosphere or from canisters. Liquefied methane makes a good rocket fuel. Ah! There we go. So that's what now we know what methane is for. Methane is a rocket fuel. So let's have a look up magnesium. And we want these magnesium rocky clusters, which we can get from a crushing table. Now, is there an automated crushing table from Magneticraft? Or is there a way to automate the crushing table from Magneticraft? I think there is a multi-block crushing table from Magneticraft. Solar panel, shelving unit, small steam engine, grinder, possibly sieve, solar tower, shipping container, pump jack, hydraulic press. I have a feeling one of these is the automatic crusher, but on the other side of it, how much magnesium do we actually need? Although I could mine space magnesium, of course, if I could find magnesium. If I could find magnesium on... Actually, to be fair, that's probably the better way of doing it. Let's set these guys up cooking. And then we can actually very quickly just grab our... not Ceres, not Saturn. Where's Jupiter gone? So we'll have that researching Uranus while we are prepping. But yeah, I'm going to head up to Jupiter. I'm going to grab my digital miner. I'm going to head back to Saturn. We're going to set up the digital miner, gathering us magnesium. Going to get the magnesium together. And in the next episode, we will be building the Tier 6 rocket and heading to the next Tier 6 planet, which is... What's the Tier 6 planet? Neptune's Tier 7, so I assume that Uranus is tier 6. So I'll be headed to Uranus tomorrow, in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I have been the Gaming Droid. This has been Modern Skyblock 3, and I will see you all in the next episode. Bye, everybody.